person's water. They'll be mad. Welcome. This is, I guess this is the Fry plus Space Ghost equals best friends forever. That's what they told me. And I would assume it is, but a couple of great voice talents we're going to be talking to today. Of course, George Lowe. Let's bring George over. Here he is. Space Ghost, come on. Yeah. And that shirt, obviously, upon graduation, you received.
Nobody said there'd be stairs.
There it is.
Hey, man.
Oh, how you doing? Great.
Young people.
And of course, Fry from Futurama, Billy West. Billy always dressing up for the occasion.
Thank you.
Wow. Like being in the Catskills.
There he is.
Hello.
Billy, how you doing,
You know
man?
that movie, There Will Be Blood?
Yes.
This is worse, There Will Be Stairs. I have a bad knee. I know, already we're talking about, look, my hernia.
It's bulging.
Wow.
I fell in a hole a couple days ago. My yard man's fixing a sprinkler head. He forgets he leaves like a 16-foot deep hole. You could catch a tiger in this thing. And then he covers it with grass rather than refilling it. Refilling it would be work.
It's called a booby trap, I
If
think.
it had been a John Wayne movie, the enemy would have had to
Yes.
You know, they were saying, how do you want to be announced? And I said, well, he knows what to do, okay?
Billy West, please, we all know. You're looking at a couple of amazing voice talents that I think if you're familiar with animation, you've heard these guys' voices.
I wouldn't say that, but I'm glad you did.
I did. I've known Billy's career over the years through radio from the Howard Stern show and then on to so many cartoon voices. When did it really start picking up for you? Because it went from, oh, I know the guy's name, to every time the TV's on, I'm hearing Billy West.
How do you think I feel? No, I have to compartmentalize. Otherwise, I couldn't enjoy anything. You know, it's surreal. You hear your voice kind of coming out of here, there, and everywhere. And if I begin to really listen with that, you instantly your own critic. You know, it's like, I could have done that way better. Oh, you dope. Look at the opportunities you missed. I'm like tearing my hair out, you know, and it's like I'm beating myself up, so I gotta pretend I had nothing to do with all those things.
Is that it? You just don't really like...
You know what it's like.
You never want to watch or listen to your own work for some reason. Not only is it extremely narcissistic and creepy,
yeah,
but it's you do over-critique yourself.
You do, but that's the artist's way, as they say.
Now, as far as something like Space Ghost goes, and you could not find it on TV. I mean, you'd be rattling around the channels, and there it is.
And they're still sneaky.
Yeah.
3 a.m. I've got people coming up going, did you know they were running them again? I'm like, great, more money I'm not getting.
Man, you know, we gotta have a talk.
I'm going to be sponging off of Billy because he's, you know.
No, we gotta have a talk with you for real.
I know we need.
His agent screams at him. He's telling me like, you know, like he was, like he had to defend what he does for a living.
He's got to defend what he does for a living.
I'm traveling
This is just this is real stuff. I don't know how entertaining it's gonna be, but it's real stuff.
They don't get that the 3rd of September I will be driving in a car from Florida to Atlanta. I have to itemize that like some sort of government form because the lady is just like, what's the best way to put it? It's like a Pratt & Whitney jet engine full of estrogen coming at me. Mach 1. Sorry, we just broke, this man didn't even crack a smile. I thought that was inspired. I do. But she's on the phone like,
okay, you're
yeah, right. It's West Coast. When you get to Atlanta, kid, you go and do something at 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock's 3.
Isn't that what your representation is supposed to do for you?
You know what the difference is? If I was like the talking cat on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, they'd have their nose all the way up my rear end.
Yeah, but
Sabrina.
do you want an old ladies?
Well, no, but you get the idea, and it's a horrible way to put it.
No, you know what, that's crazy. I mean, everything is of equal importance if you're the guy doing it. I don't care if it's the edgy project that hardly you ever see, or if you're talking bottle of bleach. I remember when I lived in Boston, I said to my buddy, Eddie Gordetsky, who is now one of the biggest producers in Hollywood, we were bums, we worked in radio, and we were high as rats, and we used to sit out back and skip lunch, because you know. And we'd look up in the sky, and we'd be quacking at each other, and I said, imagine what it would be like, Eddie, to be the guy. I mean, to be the man, what must it be like? And he was just like, it's not important, you know, because he was a rebel. And then I guess one of us knows now, because he produces like Big Bang Theory, he created Mom. You know, I mean,
He's a
Boston guy, radio guy.
Yeah, what BCN?
Yeah.
Was he up there? But you've reached, you know, pretty much the pinnacle of voicedom. Like I was talking to you earlier and talking about somebody like Mel Blanc, the old Warner Brothers cartoons, and like you kind of, not an imitation of Mel Blanc, but became that voice, the guy where it's like, oh, who does that voice? Oh, it's Billy West.
Well, you know what? It began to become apparent to me, yes, you've got to be able to replicate characters or do voices that are in the news, or if you hear them and it's coming through a shitty source on the AP or something, I used to take an empty coffee cup and just go, yeah, no, I told him. After he said something. In other words, it would be a continuation of what he said with the same shitty sound. And I used to do that all the time. That was the most valuable piece of equipment I ever had, was this paper coffee cup that I would always try to simulate the crappy...
A little old school, like style of the...
EQ and nothing but compression.
Isn't that odd that you could buy equipment to replicate that, yet a coffee cup kind of works a little better?
I'm an old soul, you know? I think it's
old
like...
Foley artist?
Guys like us should have been on Remember When, you know, W.E.
You know, if it had been the 30s, you and I would have been...
Seagulls, or Venetian blinds,
yeah,
whatever was in the script.
An end table.
Yeah, here comes a horse. You've been one of those like old school 30s actors.
Yeah. And then it got advanced. Here comes Stephen Hawking.
How you doing? I think you're great. You suck.
No, I don't.
So you don't even need the equipment.
Come on, he gets hostile the minute he comes on.
You remember Robin Williams' line about rest is soul? He said, I called Stephen Hawking at home the other day. I was like, hello, this is Stephen Hawking. But oh no, it's the answering machine. No, this is Stephen Hawking.
That's funny. Do you mind if we just screw around? I mean, at least it's real. I don't have some specialized presentation. Well, it all started, what's the stupid radio guy thing they go? It all started at a 50-watt radio station in Athol, Mass.
From Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes.
Yeah.
It all started from here, the small radio station in Fresno. Yeah, 5,000 watts.
I don't know how much radio you've heard, like the stuff I used to do. This is like 20 years ago.
Well, they're already leaving.
Oh, there goes what Woody Woodbury, the comic, or somebody said, there goes more kittens to the sandbox.
Now they just heard out they're giving free weenies away in the hallway.
Okay, I'm there. Are they vegan? They better be vegan.
When Billy, when you were doing Ren and Stimpy, obviously people just loved that.
They look fine to me,
Right?
Yeah, you grew up with that shit.
You were voicing Stimpy, and John Crickflusy was Ren, and he actually had developed the show.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, he's gone, and you are now doing Ren and Stimpy. You're doing both voices.
Yes.
Can you maybe enlighten us on how that happened?
I will, and you know, I thought I have, but it's like, people keep asking.
Really?
A whole new generation wants to know, are you a real backstabber like I heard? You know, it's like, no. But do you really want to bring this mountain down on yourself, asking me this? And I said, originally, I was supposed to do both voices. I auditioned for both of them. I got the show. John Kay had me in a closet. I was reading it. At MTV, we were right up the hall from Kurt Loder's office or somebody. And it was a broom closet. It was right out of like a Marx Brothers movie. You know, we had to set up this thing with a little tape recorder mic, and I'm like, hey, Ren, will you button me? Shut up, you fool! He says, I'll kill you. And he goes, I said, 2 more, you know. And he brings it in, and he came out and he said, congratulations, what you just did sold the show. And I said, well, great. And then I don't hear anything, and then suddenly I'm working on the show, but he decided he was going to do it, which was fine by me. I wanted the job. I didn't give a fat frog's ass who did what, you know? I really didn't. You know, I mean, you gotta say, oh, you know, I'm glad to have a job. Thank you, everybody. But then he got fired from the show, and they said, wait a minute, wasn't Billy supposed to do both voices? Because they auditioned everybody. Yeah, for the replacement for him. I mean, you'd be really surprised to see.
It would have been odd that if you didn't get the role, though. I mean,
well, you know, I mean, I remember hearing the tapes that he wanted me to listen to. It was all these different phases of Peter Lorre.
yeah.
You know, like the real quiet, menacing one from those German expressionistic movies, you know, where you go, I'd like a couple of hamburgers, please, and to make them raw. You know, and there was this quiet, creepy menace, and then he would just explode, you know. That eye, I saw that eye, it was blinking and blinking. And, you know, this is old stuff, but it's like, when you filch through, for lack of a better word, through showbiz periphery in the past, like old movies, like an American movie classics, you hear some twist of a phrase, or the way the actor, or the people of the time talked, and you go, I got it, I love that. Why do I love it so much? Not only because I have a love of language, but some stuff is just unbelievably great. So when you use it in something new, it's like people just, you know, they don't know what hit them.
Don't really know where it came from or what context you got it from. They just like it.
Well, I remember one time I did a show for Steven Spielberg, and me and Tom Kenny were doing this B movie, it was called. It was about 2 air aces, you know, in World War II or one of those kind of things. They were flying leathernecks and all that. And he played the stalwart captain, you know, hale and hearty. And I played this kid named Jersey, who was the rear gunner, you know, and he would go, do I have permission to shoot him, hey? You know, and I heard that on an old Martin and Lewis broadcast, you know, Sinatra came in, you want to tell me where the bathroom is, hey? And I went, hey.
Who puts hay at the end of a
Yeah, apparently,
sentence like that?
many people in Jersey did that, and probably still do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pick things up like that, incorporate it into what you do, and
God,
it seems to work.
Yeah, and it's like everything like that is brand new. Everybody wants to reinvent how we talk. Every generation comes along and wants to abbreviate words that we know. Meanwhile, it was done in the 30s and 40s. You know, I heard a bunch of kids, you know, were like, well, natch. You know, it's almost like tweet speak.
Yeah.
Where you just abbreviate.
But it was always going on.
But it was always going on.
Yeah. And then, of course, Skimpy was Larry Fine.
Oh, yes.
A mixture of Larry Fine and...
Pretty much that.
But pretty much Larry Fine from the Three Stooges.
Well, I remember John Crisfilisi, I worked with him on a show called Beanie and Cecil. It was a quick redo in 1988, and then it got shot down by Jenny Trias, the head of children's programming at ABC. And she, you know, I guess she was going through the ringer with him. And, like everyone. Sorry. And, no.
I got him.
One what?
You need one?
That'll be refreshing.
E. coli.
Eat that.
E. coli. Sorry, I have a habit of wrecking things. But
Billy doesn't know he's actually eating tar heroin. Let's watch.
I'm at that party. I'm at that party right now.
Look at the seagulls.
Yeah, you know, I did something like that. It was like a hallucinogenic or acid or something. I don't know.
Oh my
At a
God.
party was.
Yeah.
And I jumped out the window. I took a swan dive out the window. Now, this was a basement apartment. I just kind of rolled into the window. You know, so where were we? Oh yeah, Larry. The Three Stooges. I stopped going to church when I discovered the Stooges. I swear to God, I found my saints. I couldn't get over it, I couldn't get around it, I couldn't get under it. All I knew is that most adults, when I was 10, in my heart of hearts, I always felt most adults were full of shit. And you know what? I grew up and I was right. You know, there's an old geezer out there, but he couldn't be much older than me. He just wouldn't know that. But he's trying to tell me what, you know, if you don't have the right dad, and I was like, how old are you, man? You know, what do you think, I'm 7? And
I made him put me in a fake headlock.
yeah,
You missed it, I did. I made somebody take a picture of me. I said, would you put your arm around my, you know, and I got it from the guy's armpit.
Like you were getting
Yeah, I was
thrown
like-
out of the place?
you're kind of
You're liking it too much.
you're kind of a one-stop for that sort of thing, I heard.
That's right. I'm like a convenience store for it.
There you go. How much do I love these guys?
So you get, you know, you get
So
some
Larry
of
was
this.
one of the Stooges that no one gave a damn about, you know, but without him, he was like, to me, he was the Keith Richard of the Stooges, you know. He just kind of held everything together in the middle, and you always paid attention to Moe, and you knew every ream of dialogue from Curly, but nobody would pay, or even look at Larry, so I began to fixate on him as nothing else, and it was always this, you know. You know, like that one, and take this, and another one. You know, and Larry would be like, but then when he was in the scene, he was like this. And then they do cutaways to like, you know, all mismatched shots, all mismatched.
Oh my God.
And the little that he said just fascinated me, like, hey Mo, there's too much tinsel on this tree. And I would just die. I would die. I said, that's so sublime. It's like nothing. But why is I love periphery. I'm attracted to like the thing that doesn't quite work right.
But that seems to be like, as far as your voice career goes, taking some things from that periphery makes it like, some people aren't going, oh, he just blatantly robbed this, because it's the thing no one's really paying attention to, but it is,
You know the old thing.
funny out there.
You know the old thing. It's like doing impressions. What I found is that I prefer to have someone show you a character and just start from scratch and have faith in your own ability to interpret it, no matter what you're drawing on.
Right.
So stealing from one person is plagiarism. And then stealing from everybody is like research. Ain't it?
Do you find, so when you're trying to do an impression of somebody, do you find it easier to do an impression of the guy, or when someone else does an impression, you go, oh, okay, that seems to be the way to do it? Because a lot of people find it easier to do an impression of a guy that's doing an impression of somebody
That's right.
than it is the actual impression.
But then you're basically stealing the guy's ingenuity.
You're
You know,
right.
and you really don't want to, you know, I stole Rich Little's take on Raymond Burr. You know, but I was really young and I just said, hey, I can sound like, what's his ass there? Rich Little.
Rich Little, yeah, doing Raymond Burr.
And he'd be like, you know, yeah, Robert Ironside. And I heard she was a big drag queen later on, and it was like, do the darts on this dress go with my heels? Dude, Paul trying to shove the wheelchair up my ass. My pink wheelchair with Mark Sanger. You know,
Did you have, as far as what you watched and what inspired you, was it things like Rich Little and Frank Gorshin? And
I loved Frank Gorshin because he rocked. I mean,
he was more of the evil version of Rich
those
Little.
guys were too clinical and stainless for me.
Yeah.
You know, I liked the guy that was like, he really was Richard Widmark.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys remember the old Batman TV show?
Serious.
You've seen it, yeah. And then there was this Riddler on there. The best Riddler that ever existed, I'm sorry.
Amen.
And it was Frank Gorshin. And he would say little rhymes like, you know, he'd leave a rhyme and it said, there are 3 men in a boat, but let's see. There are 3 men in a boat with 1 cigarette and no matches. How did they manage to smoke? And Robin would always have the instant answer. Answer, they threw 1 cigarette overboard and made the boat a cigarette lighter. You know, and correct, boy wonder. And that laugh, he was imitating Tommy Udo, the psychotic gangster in, I forget the name of the movie where he pushed the wheelchair, the lady in the wheelchair down the stairs. He's giggling, he's kicking her down the stairs and he goes...
So he borrowed.
He borrowed from Richard Widmark. Now go look up that scene on YouTube. I promise you'll be entertained.
Yeah, it's quite frightening.
Yeah,
old movie.
But
yeah.
he had to as an impressionist. But when he had the chance to create a character, he created a damn good one in my estimation.
Yeah. Now I noticed on Futurama, Fry is probably the most similar voice to your own voice.
Yeah, and then people said, so you sounded like Michael J. Fox when you were 25? There was no Michael J. Fox when I was 25. And yeah, I was whiny, I was in a band, you know, I played music and sang and everything, but boy, if something happened, there was no such thing as roadies, you know, in like the mid-60s and all that. And I'd be like, oh shit, now what am I gonna do? Broke a string. Does anyone care? Does anyone have an extra string? You know, I was whiny and nasally complaining.
So you brought that kind of back for Fry.
I'm not that vain, you know. I'll stoop to anything.
Are there any characters that you think you failed at, that you listen back and go, oh, I really could have done better?
Extra roll.
Slow! I took a shot. Slow! Don't talk, Johnny, Joe. That's the roll. That's the roll, everyone.
Oh my God.
I'll trade you two Esther rolls for Christopher Walken any day.
That is true. Yeah.
Or Andrew Arthur.
Everyone seems to be able to, or think they're able to do a Christopher Walken, and that seems to be the go-to impression.
What if you ask the guy, can you do frantic tone? Ancient movie stars, you know,
Of course.
Adolph Manju.
What?
Yeah, what? Yeah, it's always like, and people copy an impression.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not sure who started that one, but, you know, all my friends could do it and everything. But it's like, okay, it's great. At parties, I learned that firsthand.
Right.
But they're really applauding for the guy that did it, and the guy that invented it. And so when I had a chance to create characters, I was thrilled to death. You know, I did meet Mel Blanc once.
You did?
Yes, it was at an old wooden college in, you probably know where it is, Worcester, Mass. There was an old college with termites named Clark University.
I was in Worcester a few times, sure.
He came there, yeah. This is guy, you know, it's like,
Oh my God.
I gotta tell you about him, I love him because he's fearless. This one, Anthony Cumia.
Thank you, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, you were the last on the...
It was pretty much, the last
You were
of the
the third on a
Mohegans out
match.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, of like radio that was great, like it could be over all the years until these little niggling myopic program directors just, you know, decided
It
we
became...
need to co-opt your sense of humor. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, when every second of radio time became a dollar sign,
Oh yeah.
then the program director and management would tell you what you had to do, and that whole free-form kind of fun, let's joke, and is looked at like, well, you should be doing this. And
No,
this.
every time the
Our
program-
research tells us.
There was like this door in production where I used to work. That was the only place that left you could do anything creative.
Yeah.
And so this guy, he was as tall as me, so, you know, I mean, he looked like Mickey Rooney. And he'd come up to the window. There was like a glass window here, and the rest was all door. You remember them? Because they don't want windows.
No.
No, but
please.
I would see this little hamster looking in like this at me, like, you know, and I thought, oh, here he comes, you know, and you had to pretend around him, and you had to have an act with the other guy.
Of course, it's all just a...
Yeah, and he'd come in, you know, I had an idea. You know, he said, wait, Mark, you're going to get really excited over this. I want to play something that we just did for a radio promo. And that's good, but I need informational, you know. And I said, well, didn't it ever occur to you, this is how I used to talk too. Didn't it ever occur to you that like, it's like a shot of Novocaine to the brain? You know, we play 20 songs or you win $20,000. Be listening Thursday. Well, why is that? Because that's the day Arbitron decides who got the most ratings. You know, that's why they give away money. They're buying...
Listeners, yeah.
Yeah, they're buying listeners. And
Anytime management would put their nose into any of the creativity of a radio station, you could just guarantee that it was going to be bad, not fun to do, and not a fun product that's going out over the airwaves. What do you think? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
It was like Tourette's. I had
What do you think about today's, there's so much political correctness today, and I think that stifles creativity. I know there are people, obviously you should be nice and benevolent and kind and everything, but there is a context of humor where I think to stifle it too much really cuts down on what people do find funny.
Well, here's how I see it. I've auditioned for stuff, and what I'm mostly seeing is like drawings that look like children's refrigerator art. You know, and that's the new show. That's our new show. You know, Joey and Pez, or Franny and Zoe, or whoever. And then it's two producers, they're buddies, and they want to do all the voices on the show with their one anemic voice. And they all think they're Seth MacFarlane. And so they're getting away with it, and what they've done is created a substandard so nobody can fail. That's their biggest fear in life, fail.
Right.
So if you create a substandard, it's like, we don't suck, we're not good, but
no one's
this
allowed
is
to
the
be up
standard.
here.
Yeah, and I would read for this stuff, and I don't know, it's because I'm too old really to understand it, but there seems to be no sense of humor. It's about, well, what's it about? Well, it's about nothing.
Yeah, there really has to be,
I'm a storyteller. So are you, so are you.
I grew up on old Warner Brothers cartoons.
Sure.
Growing up on, Bugs Bunny and Foghorn Leghorn
And I made a lot of money because of guys like you.
Exactly. And it was funny to watch. It was fun to watch. It was well done. It was the art in it was amazing. We went through a phase, and I think it was through the 70s and 80s, where the animation meant nothing. It was like a one plate, maybe the mouth moved, and and that art of the old Warner Brothers cartoons, where everything was fluid, there was an orchestra playing to the action that you're seeing on the screen, just went away, and that was all due to, what's cheaper? How do we make this cheaper? And it was substandard. And
but you know what? They were smart enough to hire good voice people and stuff. If you're referring to like Rocky and Bullwinkle, that stands alone because the writing was so cool, and they used the absolute best voice talents of the time in these things. And it's like there was something in it for everybody. Like I'd see my uncle laughing his ass off at Rocky and Bullwinkle over something that just I missed.
Yeah.
And then I would see something and I would go, Tex Badenoff, y'all. Tex Badenoff, y'all.
even though they were maybe skimped on the animation portion of it, like you said, the voices were good, the jokes were there. But I'm even talking about like when we went into the 80s, and I'm sorry if I'm sure there are He-Man fans. But the animation of that just was so flat and it didn't draw you in. You didn't feel like you were watching something artistic happening.
But it stood, it played.
Oh yeah, it's still a classic. People will.
But you know what happens? It's like there'll be so much of this paper doll kind of cartoons, and then these other guys are going to come along and go, I can't wait to get my hands on this art form. I want it to be as stellar and great as I can make it. That's their objective. And then they'll go do something, and somebody will say, well, this cartoon, watch it, it's on YouTube. They did it in 1943. And it's like, the ancients stole all our best ideas.
Yeah. And as far as the voice work goes, first getting into it, what was like your first voice gig?
The puberty, what's the old term? Puberty was very...
Is that it? That kind of made your career?
Don't ask me,
Anthony,
I
I'll
told
tell
myself through puberty.
Exactly. It was like the voice came, I don't know, you probably, same thing I'm guessing, same thing with Billy. For me, it was like overnight. Hey Mom, what's for supper?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mom,
It's time to change.
and the sun will come up tomorrow. Roger, Mom, what the hell's happening to me? So my friends thought that was so cool that they shoved me in this small town radio station at like 13. a different time. The guys were a bunch of older guys that were really nice, and one of them said, well, now tell me if this will happen today. One of them says, well, let's make you a demo and get your application. They thread up reel-to-reel tape, they pull wire copy, yes, teletypes, thank you. I'm 100 also.
Flash!
Yeah, this just in, Dateline, Florida. Kid who still had hair, taken under the wing of local announcers. They read me, it encouraged me. At 15, I got my first gig. Radio station, because it gave me the stones to walk in and go, hey, your nighttime guy sucks. I thought I was great at 15. So the old guy sitting around the room was blue. You could cut the smoke with a knife. White belts, white shoes. Oh, this kid's great. Give him a chance. And they shoved me in the booth, and Friday became the night. I got my own show my senior year of high school. Stuck with it. Didn't have the sense to stop. And then one day after TBS, TNT, Turner Classic, Turner Home Entertainment, all that stuff, they had enough guys going, have you heard this guy ad-lib? I mean, we're looking, checking the copy while he's reading, because he'll take a sentence, mid-sentence, go on a tangent, finish the thought, real time. And that's when they said about the 9th or 10th time they heard my name in a cartoon, they were like, well, let's get him in and read Lazo. You always know you're doing okay with Lazo when he looks at the producer and goes, mark that. Mark that.
Lazo.
Mike Lazo. Am I doing pretty good, Mike Lazo? That's kind of how it goes. You want to hear Keith Crawford? Want to hear my Crawford?
So anyway, we're having a problem with what's going on. What you're doing is just totally, it's out of line. When Pete tells you how to read something, you got to go in and read it.
Meantime, I'm imitating all my friends in Atlanta who really hated me. I had a friend who was a psychologist. By the way, I have to say for the record, not gay, but this is how he talked. He went to Brown, had a PhD from Brown, just very southern and soothing, and that's how he would calm you down if you were having an event. So I'm stealing everything, like this one over here, the walking Magna Corder, stealing every voice as we go. If I hear something in an elevator, like 2 seconds later, I'm going, did you hear that? Was that a woman? It sounded like Ernest Borgnine with breasts. It's a long way of answering your question.
As a matter of fact, I think that was, what's her name, that married him? Ethel Merman.
Ethel Merman?
Yeah.
Did she marry Borgnine?
Yeah.
Really?
This is the only place on earth where this conversation is taking place. Whether you go 10 years, 25 years this way, or 25 years in the future.
It really is.
We'll never hear this again.
Running the gamut. Did you ever do a voice in front of the people that you're doing the voice of?
You have to.
And
Yeah, I did it one time on Jay Leno.
on Leno?
Yeah, and I just, sometimes our mirth makers don't have a sense of humor when it comes to them. Everything else is off limits. And so I started to do something when I was a guest on the show, the Old Tonight Show. And I said, I have a little impression of you, and he shot me a look. It was like,
No.
yeah, but in the way these guys got it down where no one can see him going. So everywhere I went, I was more than happy to just like Tourette out all that stuff. You see this in the paper today? I don't know if you saw it. They've got a new car. It turns right though when you turn left, and it's called a dyslexis. We're gonna show for the same thing. It's this on Mars and canals, but except they weren't. He over-explained the joke like way longer than the punchline. He'll go, you see this in the paper today, Mars, polarized caps and canals. And I Jay, I know what Mars is. You see this today in the paper, crossword puzzles. Yeah, the newspaper. Ink.
Yeah. Going on.
Yeah, I know what the newspaper.
Get to it. The first time that ever happened, I had just gotten into radio. I was in construction for many years before I fell into radio.
That's interesting.
And it was a dream come true. So we're doing an event out in Los Angeles, and they bring Andrew Dice Clay through. And I had been doing a Dice impression for years, and he comes by, and I'm like, "Hey, why don't you come over here? Hey, talk to me. Hey, jackass, come over here." And he comes over, and me and him get into an argument.
Oh, no.
And he ends it, but he's laughing, but he wants it to seem like he's serious. Almost the opposite of Leno, like he's enjoying it. And he goes, I'm not going to stand here and argue with me. And walks away. And to me, it was one of the most thrilling moments.
Of course, because
I had never done it. I think the week before I had. Yeah.
And that's, it wouldn't be fun for him if he didn't have you, and then give you a wink like,
Yeah, the old.
"Get up!"
Yeah. So, he enjoyed it, but I can only imagine some of those people that make their bones off of just doing celebrity impressions and then constantly having to do it for the person.
Can I tell you a story? One day, is this you? No, that's me. That's my room key. I always couldn't leave that laying around with my name on it. So anyway, I worked in radio, and we used to do lunchtime song parodies. Anthony would remember, like old BCN. It was a tradition. Every day at noon, the guy on the air would blow the mighty lunch whistle, and it sounded like an old steamboat whistle. You know that. Yeah, and he'd go, WBCN, the mighty lunch hour, and then he'd play some song that sounded like everyone knew, except that the words were different. It was always about food and lunch, and we named it. Thank God the station was WBCN because his name was Ken. If it was Joe, we'd have the WBCO, Yeah, these are rhymes for the song. But one day, me and my partner did a song parody of Katrina and the Waves. I'm Walking on Sunshine. She comes in with a little band, and everybody's like going, this is Tom Sandman, and this is Billy West, and they made a song, they want you to hear it. And she comes in and sits down, and we start playing, and it opens up like she knows it. And she's grooving with her own song. She's like this, and all of a sudden it's me sped up on the tape singing about lunchtime, I'm waiting on lunchtime. And her face was the face of no breaks. That face, it was like. And her nose was out of joint over there. Yeah, well, the hell with Katrina and her stupid ways. I made her song more famous than she did on Futurama. As I sang Walking on Sunshine.
Yeah.
Walking on sunshine. Oh, don't it feel good?
How often are you actually in the room with the people that you're voicing a cartoon?
Sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours, but it's better to work ensemble. You've got your peers there. You think you're lucky stars because it makes you want to do better. You're not jealous of anybody, and you're not like, what a jerk that they can just do this or that. Never. It was like, these people are geniuses, and you want to fire on all 8 cylinders when you go in. You see somebody trying to raise the bar, I'm with you. You're a bro. Then they bring in a celebrity, and the bar goes, hits them. I don't know how you guys do what you do. I mean, it's just like, I had no idea, and then they walk out with whatever the session fee for them was. It's always like, $500,000 or something.
It was always so much fun back, I don't know, for years ago it was kind of a thing to get a sports person on a sitcom or something.
Honestly. Folks, I gotta run to a commercial. I apologize.
Run.
This is like the Johnny
Do a commercial.
Listen, I gotta
have
go.
like 5 minutes left.
You watch, I'll get there.
It's like Sinatra.
And Jiffy's tampons.
Sinatra has to. George Lowe. Thanks so much. Let's move over to Steve like that. All right, now those stairs are really. God, do we need an escalator over there with 3 steps?
I never thought he'd leave.
Or a really big fat Samoan kid who can carry you.
Hey, my family's half Samoan.
Are there any slim Samoans?
He wants to leave one joke, man.
Of course. There was always, I was always imitating things as a kid, as I'm sure you were.
Already?
I don't know why certain certain speech patterns just became acceptable, and the sportscaster was always one that was kind of odd to me.
Yes.
And it was completely acceptable for them to just talk like this. Yeah, I went out with the wife last night, had some ribs at a wonderful restaurant that won high and wide for ball too. They would just go like complete their conversation.
Disc jockeys would do it. There was a school, remember there was, they called this one style, if somebody came on and they were like this, they called them pukers, because it was like, well, it's about 8:30 in the morning, you know.
Why were so many people attracted to that morning radio guy?
I know.
Hey, everybody!
Because I said that to myself, I said, who talks like this?
Yeah.
You know, and I guess there was that time when it was like, it's like history, it's like ancient history. First there were these big dumb dinosaurs, you know, and they ruled the earth, you know. It's like Madison Avenue. I used to go, when I was first moved to New York, I go 50 years ago. This giant species ruled and pounded upon the earth, going up and down Madison Avenue, auditioning for things. and you had to be part of that club, you know.
Yeah.
And they were called big, dumb announcers because far and away above everything else in the world, they loved the sound of their own voice. And they couldn't give birth to it, so they would go, coming to the Worcestershire, yeah. You know, it's like hamburger helper. They didn't have that much to say, so they're just trying to fill the air.
Trying to make it huge.
Yeah, swinging with every pitch, and it's like a brainless mind.
I think a lot of it also had to do with the fact that you didn't sound like that. So it almost made them special.
Well,
that's the radio guy.
No, I said, how do you become this, you know? And I could fake it, but it just was so unnatural, you know. CBS FM, you know, and those bad segues, you know, yeah, Carole King, too late, baby, too late, but it's never too late to get with the Hollywood Argyles and Alley-oop, the caveman. You know, and then they come out like, well, this cat's name is Alley-oop, because they were so talented, they did something called back timing, which meant just minus before the record is going to start. Here's where you start talking, and you better be out before that.
Hitting the post.
Hitting the post.
Still ending what you're saying the second the vocals kick in on the record that you're playing. And it would, I don't know why that became a thing to do, because it's annoying as hell.
Well, you know what it was? It was like it was an edict that was handed down. And then when somebody like Stern came along, you know, the program director was like, I want you to tell the time and the temperature. And he's saying, why don't they just look out the window? You know, if they want to know what it's doing, it's raining. You know, or buy a watch.
Yeah.
Just about everybody has a watch now, sir.
Just some type of anytime, like I said though, anytime management gets involved with what you're supposed to be doing, what your talent is, they're gonna screw it up.
Oh, well, you know what it is those guys don't know why they hand down things they're handing down.
Yeah, they're just
never
told.
once thought about it, you know.
Yeah.
You have to do the
They're just
time, the
told.
temperature, the weather, and it's like, this is, you know what it is? It's the only way non-creative people can align themselves in the creative process, is to be in charge of it and tell creative people how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's all there is. And you know what? It never ends.
Yeah, no, that's what I
Hollywood
think it's
like,
gonna...
There's a bunch of people on one side of the table. Oh, don't ever try to sell your own show. Don't. You'll have a gun for lunch. You sit down with them and they go, this is great, and then you get some notes and they want to change everything. Couldn't the guy be a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's duly noted, you know, but an Eskimo though. Because we don't, you know, you always need like another color in the United Colors of Benetton. You know? I mean, that's what the thought like, because they didn't have a thought. So on one side of the table, there'd be these guys that don't know what it feels like to have an idea. And on the other side of the table, there's artists and creative people, and they don't know what it feels like to not have an idea.
Yeah.
How
are they supposed to work together?
But they do, and
Thank God, somehow it works out. Billy, what a career.
Was this
and
boring?
You're still going. I love this.
Wait, I'll just voice this real quick.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Red, will you button me?
Fool! Bloated, fat, sack of protoplasm! Okay. And, all right, wait.
Oh, I have an updated version of Doug, which I did for Nickelodeon years ago.
He talks with a question, just like all college kids do.
Is that okay? I'm going to the store.
Dear Journal. Did he say Dear Diary? I can't remember.
Dear Journal, today I blew up a courthouse.
And, oh, careful, alert the man. I met it with a woman.
Ralph.
Good news, everyone. Bad news. Who else?
Ralph.
Oh, Zoidberg. You need an autograph? Why not Zoidberg? So when you see me tomorrow, maybe you can come down and say, well, I invite
How about
you.
Ralph?
Huh?
Ralph.
Who is it?
Ralph from the joke department. Ralph.
Ralph?
Yeah, you remember the
Can you do it so I can...
cockroach? You ever see the movie Joe Department?
Joe's apartment. He's saying
Oh,
Joe's
oh, oh,
apartment.
Ralph the Roach.
Yeah, Ralph.
Oh, you want me, you see, I cheated. That's a sped up voice.
Oh, yeah.
But I can do it.
Still, you know.
Hey, hello, Joe. We're here to keep you company, Joe.
Oh, thank you very much. I thought you were just nuts. But it was worth the wait. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Billy West, of course, and George Lowe. I'm Anthony Cumia. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you, hanging with us.
Nothing but fun.
Yeah. All right, finally got Ralph. It's funny. I like Ralph. He's like the leader of the